Hello! The time has finally come to continue our problem-solving journey with some 10Q problems. So this first one is black to kill. Pause the video and try to figure out the killing move for black. Quite clearly, white has an eye on a3, so we need to deny white any eyes in this area here. And the reading is not too deep here, so we can maybe check each and every move here and see how they work. Let's say we play b4, white just captures everything. Okay, that's no good. If we play b5, then white cannot play b6, because then the whole white chain would be an Atari. So white will be forced to capture on b4. We can connect b6, and then there's only a false eye on c4. So this is the correct move, which kills white. It may also look like b6 immediately would be working, if you think that white would be forced to capture on b4. But after b6, white can actually capture on b5, because a5 is already an Atari. So we need to play b5 to falsify the eye. And then white is dead. Next one, now it's instead black to live. Pause the video, try to find the living move. So there's a couple of traps you can fall into here. Let's begin by looking at c2. I think this is quite a natural move. It prevents white from playing into c2 and potentially falsifying an eye here. But if we play c2, white can play e2. And this is a problem because we cannot then play e3. This whole b2 bomber would be in Salvadori. So we need to prevent that somehow. If we play e1, taking the stone off the board, well, then white could play e3, and white is going to get either c2 or e2. The eye is going to be false in either case. That's no good. So the correct move here is actually e3. Now after e3, if white responds on e1, then we can play the b2 bomber on c2. The b2 bomber is this shape of 6 stones here. But if white plays c2, we just capture and we have a real eye. So this is the way to live. White plays this one, okay, we capture. If white would play Atari next, we would just connect, and this is a real eye. Let me just show the most important failure variations. This one, this one, this one. Here's the b2 bomber shape, and it's going to die. And this one, yes, either c2 or e2 is going to make this eye into a false one. So here and e1, c2 are mi. Whichever one white plays, we'll play the other one. Alright, another black to live. Here we want to capture some stones to make an eye. We only have one eye in the corner, but we need to be careful so that we capture with a good shape. It's not enough to just get a single stone. So for instance, if we play the c2 Atari right away, it is actually the case that white cannot connect on d1, because d1 we could throw in an Atari and we would get to capture at least 3 stones. But the problem is, when we play c1, white could play something like e1, allowing us to capture 1 stone, but it's just going to be a false eye. So in a problem like this, we don't want to just nibble at the tail of the white stones. We want to try to capture as much as possible, and the way to do it in this case is e1. This sort of forces white to commit here, adding some extra stones to the sacrifice what we're going to capture. And then it's going to be a snapback. We could also have seen, if white had captured here instead, then we can see, okay, now white is forced to give up 4 stones instead of just a single stone. So I hope that makes sense as a way of thinking about it, that by playing here instead of here we're making it a bit too easy to just give up a single stone. But in this way, there's no good way for white to just give this one up. We're also capturing d2, no matter what white does. And part of the important thing here is that we have 2 liberties in the corner. This would not work if, for instance, let's say there was a white stone on a2, then this would no longer be possible because we cannot play Atari on c2 anymore. So we need to really say that we solve this, we need to have also sort of been aware of that issue, that yes, we do have enough liberties to play the final Atari. Oh, this one is very nice and practical. Comes up often in games. Black to find a way to kill. And I see we reached the 9q level, so this will be our final problem. A good principle here is that your opponent's key point is your own. The best way for white to create two eyes here would be to play b1. That would create one eye on a1 and another one on b2. So almost any move we play, let's say we play c1 or a4 or a3 or b3 or b2 or a1, if we play anything except b1, white is going to play b1 and be alive. You can check any move, white can play b1 and be alive. One way to think about that is, imagine white having a stone on b1, then black cannot kill even with 2 moves in a row. So you can place the white stone on b1, give black 2 free moves, and it's still impossible to kill. So this means that yes, we do have to start on b1, this is the way to kill. And then there are 2 ways to go about it. We could play a4 or we could play b2. Both ones work to kill. Let me actually show. Let's start with this one. So this is reducing it to a 4 in a row eye shape, and then we kill like this. This one is also working because if white blocks here, we reduce the eyes, and if white plays here, we create something that looks a little bit like a seki, but in the end, eventually, you know, black is going to have a stone here and a stone here, and then this is Atari on this chain. So then you might say, but white would, at the moment before, white would add a stone here, right, to be able to capture 3 black stones, but then of course that's a dead shape. So for this to be a seki, it would have to be the case that white is never forced to play a1 or a3. Then it would be a true seki, because then black can also not start by playing a1 or a3, because then that creates a living shape. So the trick here that makes this not a seki is that because the outside white chain can be put into Atari, white will be forced to play a3, and that reduces it to a dead eye shape. So this is also dead, and maybe this way would even be a little bit preferable way to kill it compared to this one, because here you create this little ko shape here. So if you really need to take this off the board quickly, you're going to have to fight this ko, and it can be annoying. So maybe this is actually the nicest technique here. Okay, those were the thank you problems. Hope you enjoyed. See you on the next one.